Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 153. Tonight, we return to our Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, Bracket 2, the Final Four. And this first match is from the low proof division. I started with 16 rye whiskeys, and now we're in the semifinals for Bracket 2. Back in Bracket 1, I was looking for the best rye whiskey with an emphasis on that clean, pure rye flavor. But here in Bracket 2, I'm simply looking for which whiskey I like the best, say 3 out of 5 times. And the reason we're doing it this way with the same whiskeys in two brackets, two run-throughs, is it turns out that the whiskeys in Texas break out into two very distinct kinds of whiskeys. If it has the Texas funk, it's one kind of whiskey. If it doesn't have the Texas funk, it's another kind of whiskey. And what is the Texas funk? It is the barrel char, the wood from the barrel gone wild because of the wild climate we have in Texas. Now there's ways to tamp that down, and so you get the other kind. So you can get bourbons that taste just like Kentucky bourbons, essentially. Or you can get the wild, funky Texas bourbon. Same thing with rye whiskeys. You can get a rye whiskey that tastes just like something out of Kentucky, or you can get a rye whiskey that's heavy on the funk. And so that's the two different kinds, and they're very distinct, and they both have good points. I like both. So which one do I like the best? That's what this bracket is going to find out. As it turns out, as I've gone through this bracket, the whiskeys with the Texas funk do seem to be winning. They have an edge. And tonight will be a good test because we have one whiskey with the Texas funk and one without. But there's a proof advantage and a finishing advantage, so this will be interesting. On to the contest. In this corner, we have Acre, Texas Rye, fighting out of Fort Worth. 15 minutes from my house and what used to be Hell's Half Acre, that rowdy part of Fort Worth back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I first found out about Hell's Half Acre when I moved here 40 years ago or so, and I was attending seminary, and in a church history class, it came up. There you go. The Acre Distillery started in 2015 when Tony Formby, a former owner of Rahr beer, began to distill. So he sold out his portion of Rahr and started Acre Distillery. This whiskey is 80 proof. It's aged for just over 2 years. The mash contains malted rye and malted barley, both from North Texas farms. They are malted and distilled right here in Fort Worth at Acre Distilling. This rye was only available at the distillery. Could not buy it in the liquor stores. They didn't market it that way. But here's the deal. I checked the website just yesterday, and the rye whiskey was not on the website. And there's two different ways to look at their spirits. It wasn't on either list, so I panicked. I called the distillery today and inquired. To my great relief, they said, we underestimated the demand for our rye whiskey, and we have completely sold out. We have more in the barrel, and it's going to take another 6 months or so before it's ready. So there you go. This is, it's not quite half gone. So I've got enough to last me a while. I was just worried that, they were going to take that away. Everybody's focusing on single malts these days. So this rye whiskey I bought about 2 years ago, maybe longer. And I paid $39 at the distillery for this 750 milliliter bottle. $39 for a rye whiskey from a craft distillery. That's a good deal, especially with this one. Fighting in this corner, Oaken Eden is, I'm calling it another Fort Worth whiskey. It's really from Bridgeport, which is about 30 miles to my northwest. But this is Oaken Eden Rye and Rahr. It says Rahr soaked hopped oak rye whiskey finished with an Indian pale ale soaked oak spiral. So it's rye with Rahr and Sons. There you go. Rahr and Sons spire finish. So you can see the spire in there. That's a good view of it. And so they soak those in the IPA from Rahr. And I think it's called Dadgum IPA is what Rahr's IPA is. Now, this whiskey is not one of Oakeneden's core lineup. It was a limited release, I think, only in Texas and Oklahoma, according to one review site, whiskeyconsensus.com. But I do know that this whiskey is now nowhere on the Oakeneden website, nowhere in the stores. Apparently, it is a ghost whiskey. This 90 proof whiskey is distilled in Indiana and aged about 2 years, but then it is inspired here and bottled in Louisville, Texas, and that's about 35 miles to my east. So Bridgeport is to the west and Louisville is to the east, and I'm right in between. Now, I'm looking at the Oakeneden products at Total Wine. They had 9 at Specs. They had 2 listed. Goody Goody listed 8, but none of them have this one anymore. And so I'm wondering if this was a one-time deal and it's just it's not available anymore. I bought this 2 or 3 years ago for $47, I think, $47.34 at Specs. That was probably 3 years ago. I've got several Oakenedens. I mean, I've got, well, I say several. I've got at least 3 bottles of Oakeneden. So, you know, I like their products. Now, tonight's contest pits a 90 proof Oakeneden against the 80 proof Acre. So there's your proof advantage to Oakeneden. Plus, this one's finished. Oakeneden is finished with that spire, but Acre's got the Texas Funk. So we will see. On to the contest. I like to judge the bottle, label, and marketing. So Acre is a very plain bottle. It's got their regular motto on the back. It says, "Lord, make us good, but not right now." And, you know, it's got a little history of Hell's Half Acre on the back. So it's a very plain bottle, very plain label. Oakeneden, on the other hand, has a ginormous bottle, and it's a little bit on the fancy side. I mean, this label is etched into the glass or printed on the glass somehow there. And it's got a nice, attractive label down there. It's got this emblem on the back, embossing on the back, embossing down here. So really, as far as bottle and marketing goes, Oakeneden is going to win that. Composition, though, Acre, 100% Texas. This is a grain-to-glass Texas Fort Worth whiskey, whereas Oakeneden is imported from Indiana and only bottled and finished here, but the company is based here as well. So, you know, is this a Texas whiskey? Is this a wannabe Texas whiskey? An ought to be, coulda, shoulda, woulda been Texas whiskey? I don't know. I struggled with that when I put this in the contest. Oakeneden is local, so I went ahead and counted it as a North Texas whiskey. But as far as the bottle and label goes, Oakeneden wins. But composition-wise, I'm going to say Acre because it's all Texas. So, and it's, you know, you don't find a true mash bill anywhere for this, but the website does say, you know, it's malted rye and barley. And then the Oakeneden, I don't really have a mash bill for it, and I know it's from Indiana. So composition goes to Acre. Appearance of the whiskeys. Now, what we've done, because these are fairly close, my wife mixed these glasses up. So I do not know for sure which is which. They are very similar in color. I'm thinking this one is half a shade darker. And if it's darker, I almost guarantee that to be Acre. If it's Acre, there should be a 1 on the bottom of the glass. The Okanagan has a 2. So going just off of visuals, I'm saying that's Acre, and this is Okanagan. So guessing which one is which is part of the fun, but it's not really part of the contest. But when I go for the tasting, I know I'll tell a difference. So appearance, just from aesthetics, I tend to prefer darker whiskeys. And boy, that's so close. I'm not sure I got that right yet, but I'm thinking this is the darker one. So appearance, I give the advantage there if that is in fact Acre. When I hold the bottles up, it's a little bit more apparent. This is lighter than this. So Acre has the advantage with the darker appearance. Now we're going for the nose. I will start with what I think is Acre because it's the lower proof. And if it is, in fact, Acre, I should smell the Texas funk. Yes, this is definitely Acre. Boy, that's a rich, it's got the Texas funk, it's spicy, it's sweet. Yeah, that's just got a very inviting nose. There might be some fig in there, maybe tobacco, leather. It's some sweetness like honey coming off of that. All right, let's go with this one. I think it's going to be the Okanagan. 90 proof. And I'm catching just the faintest wisp of rye. Very faint nose on that. So clearly on the nose we have a winner with Acre. Again, I'm 100% sure that's Acre now. But when I raise the glass to taste it, you will be able to see. So we'll taste. And again, I work my way from the lower proof to the higher proof. So you should see a number 1 on this glass. Oh yeah, that's the Acre. So right away you get the double dose of the Texas funk, sweetness, like caramel and honey. There may be some straw or grass in there, leather. That is an amazing whiskey there. That the oak and the char of the funk, the leather, tobacco, dark fruits maybe like figs, and it just keeps going and going. Mouthfeel for an 80 proof is marvelous. Long-lasting finish. Yeah, the Texas funk is strong with this one. So I've got to cleanse my palate with my Topo Chico. Okay. I'm convinced that was number 1, Acre. So let's do number 2, Okanagan. there. It's not quite as sweet, which is a good thing. That's one reason I like ryes. Bourbons can be too sweet at times. So this has got the nice rye flavor from first to last. A little bit of spiciness. Some hints of vanilla, orange. Yeah, picking up some orange on that. Now it's a 90 proof, but the mouthfeel is not quite as rich as the Acre. The finish, you know, it's a reasonable lasting finish there. The orange, the rye spice is kind of lingering. Some of the peppery notes are there. Classic rye. I'm getting a little bit of that beer taste as well, kind of at the start of the drink. See, I'm getting that that Rahr hoppy, and see, hops are a little bit like grapefruit to me. When I drink an IPA, it's like citrus. It's grapefruit, orange. So yeah, that's coming through. So that is a mighty fine drink right there. Let me cleanse my palate again. Well, I don't see any way to avoid it. I'm gonna have to look at this. This is in fact number 1. That is the Acre. And I'm going to say Acre wins. It won on the nose, wins in the taste, the mouthfeel, the finish. And now I'm going to even say it wins based on price and availability. I mean, $39 versus, you know, I paid $47 for the Oak and Eden. Oak and Eden's no longer available, apparently. And the Acre Texas Rye is available, but only at the distillery and 6 months from now when they finish aging it. So, you know, the winner, Oak and Eden, advances to the finals right there. All right, we have a winner. And guess what? On the next part of the tournament, from the high proof division, Acre Texas Rye 100 proof finished in rum is one of the contestants in that match. So that will be next time, as the Acre rum finished will go against Tawakero Texas Rye. All right, well, that does it for Stab the Dragon Productions. Out here.